times listed or soon thereafter as they may be reached. At such time, all interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard. Application number 684-23, Thomas and Jessica McMahon. Permission to leave in-ground pool having rear yard of 13.6 feet instead of required 14 feet. Anybody here on that application? Oh, good. When you hear your name, everybody, just please come up to the podium and let us know your name and address for the record. Southeast corner of Rosemary Place and Woodland Drive, East Islip.
Hello, I'm Thomas McMahon, 4 Rosemary Place, East Islip. Yes.
Anyone else would like to be heard on this application?
Aye.
Thank you.
Application number 685-23, Chianger Yap. Permission to leave patio on-side property line not having required setback of 6 feet. Residence B District, 278 cluster, east side of San Rafael Avenue, 510 feet north of Live Oak Drive, Holbrook.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Jangir Yap. My address is 64 San Rafael Avenue, Holbrook, New York, 11741.
One second.
Did the building department say anything to you about the air conditioning units over there on the side property line?
No,
All right, so then you hit then just on the side yard.
yes.
Anyone else would like to be heard in this application?
Make a motion, we approve the application.
What?
You granted, the application is granted.
Application number 686-23, Philip and Gail DiGiacomo. Permission to leave shed having side yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. Pool patio having side yard of 5.7 feet instead of required 6 feet. And 6-foot fence having second front yard of 6.5 feet instead of required 10 feet. Residence AA District, 278 cluster, northwest corner of Norman Drive and Kenwood Drive, Bohemia.
Good evening, Philip DiGiacomo, 107 Kenwood Drive, Bohemia.
So it's very close to 11250 where 6-foot.
Chairman, I'm looking at the 6-foot fence. That fence up,
In what way? In height? Oh, there's no way of reducing it without taking it down. It doesn't impede traffic, it doesn't go to the corner. We've had it for about 15 years now.
That feels good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think I just looked at the words on that.
This is a good day.
We have a limitation, however, code says 11,000.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm glad you.
I am.
Any other questions from the board? Any other questions? Anyone else like to be heard in this application? Make a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the application.
All in favor?
Thank you. Have a great night.
Application number 484-23, Abel Gonzalez, Juan Madrid, and Vilma Madrid. Permission to leave patio having side yard of 3 feet instead of required 4 feet, and driveway having front yard occupancy of 44% instead of permitted 40%. Residence A District, east side of Wilson Boulevard, 3,405.3 feet north of Locust Street, Central Islip.
Juan Madrid, located in 749 Wilson Boulevard, Central Islip.
Good evening, sir.
Friend,
Front yard occupancy is 44. Get that down a little bit?
they say the minimum is 40, right? 40%?
Yeah, you're at 44, but down to 42.
There's no way to leave it at 44, right? We have to there's no way to leave in 44,
You granted 42.
or we can reduce, okay, we can reduce to 42. Yeah, yes.
Questions on the board on this one?
They made- Application number 689-23, Conrad and Susan Bergman. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68-602. Residence AA District, east of Somerset Drive, 1,135.06 feet north of Patchogue Holbrook Road, Holbrook.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the boards. Len Crick, Island-wide Permit Services, office at 86 Center Street, Ronkonkoma.
I'm sorry.
Crick. Mr. Chairman, we're in front of the board seeking permission to establish a 750 square foot accessory apartment that would be located in a first floor addition that was CO'd to the house in June of 2017. The Bergmans have twin sons on the autism spectrum, requiring help and guidance from specialized caregivers. As the parents get older, they do need an apartment so a caregiver can live on site. And this will allow the sons to stay in the familiar environment where they have lived their entire lives. Although there is a covenant prohibiting two-family or accessory apartment uses throughout Somerset Estates, the planning board on July 19th of this year granted a conditional modification allowing the accessory apartment at this address.
So of course, Len, the chairman is asking about the planning board resolution that we have on the top of the file here. Obviously, the planning board approved the modification of the covenant that was imposed in the late 1980s on the subdivision.
Yes.
But they did say that the accessory apartment had to be for family use only. Is that true?
Actually, it would be either for the parents or if they pass away, then a caregiver would stay there.
Okay. Related to the care of,
Or for that matter, even if a caregiver needs to be on site
okay,
now,
great.
it's available for them.
Thank you. Yep, we see that here in the covenant. Thank you.
So we'll grant it in accordance with it.
Is there a
Any other
time period?
questions from the board on this?
Years.
I'd make a motion, we approve the application contingent upon the covenant being followed and also on a 3-year period.
All in favor?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting.
It's a good one. The horses.
Application number 690-23, Jonna Rodolfer. And it's also involving the following application, 691-23. To renew special exception to maintain 7 horses instead of permitted 6 pursuant to 12-27A1 and 12-27B. That's Residence AAA District, south side of Sportsman Street, 250 feet west of Deer Path Road, Central Islip. And also to renew special exception to maintain 9 horses instead of permitted 8 pursuant to section 1227A1 and 1227B. Also Residence AAA District, south side of Sportsman Street, 375 feet west of Deer Path Road, Central Islip.
I'm Jonna Rodolfer, and I live at 144 Sportsman Street, Central Islip, and I also own the property at 134.
All right, these were approved in the past,
They were.
Yeah, we're finished.
contingent upon both being common ownership. That was the condition. It's
Any have any comments?
Jane made a good.
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard in this application? Yes? Okay, if you could, please. First speak.
Susan Pellegrino, 85 Deer Path Road, Central Islip. I'm also here on behalf of the Central Islip Coalition of Good Neighbors. So we're concerned about why there's a need to grant someone more horses than what they're permitted and for what usage that is. There seems to be a trend of these large properties being used for non-compliant reasons. And as much as this area is known for horses, it's AAA residential, single family, and we would like to maintain that. There has been a lot of traffic, both passenger and commercial, coming in and out of this property. And we really want to maintain the unique nature and character of this neighborhood.
Well, those conditions existed at least since 2016, correct? I mean, this is not a new,
I was unaware of it. You know, I mean,
this was
that's,
approved back in 2016, so it's not exactly that the condition and character is going to change here.
well, they're asking for more horses than they're
No, they're
allowed.
not. The rest, she's asking for the same amount of horses.
It's,
Unless there's something that you can tell us as to why she's not been following the grant that she presently has. I mean, I have a problem saying, you know, conditions have changed and the character of the neighborhood has changed.
yeah, due to the amount of traffic and that's coming in and out of this, but I can't speak to someone who, why this wasn't addressed in 2016. I don't. The number? Have I counted?
Well, have you had a track?
No,
How do you know it's all?
because it's going into her property. It's going into both of the properties. There's commercial. I'm sorry?
7 years?
No, I don't know how I would do that without a study. There is commercial vehicles. That's been addressed by the town. Mhm. Notification, notification. I mean, awareness of it, quite frankly, yes. I mean, I can't speak to something that I'm not aware of. And so, mhm.
Something that gives us pause. That's why.
Mhm.
Let us tell you what the problem is. So that's why we're giving the opportunity. There's some issue.
Well, I'm concerned about the usage. I mean, the usage that I can't, again, I can't speak to how the special permit was granted and why a special permit was granted. That I don't, yes. Yes, but just to the point here, it's residential. When you say it's horse area, any half acre in the town of Islip, by the town code, can accommodate a horse, and those do exist. So I understand what you're saying, but it's residential, and people can have horses, and a lot of people do, and they're not their own, but that's what the town allows. But I'm just, I can't speak to the special permit. I guess I have to ask why a special permit needed to be issued.
The better question is, why?
Well, then how many more horses would you issue a special permit for then? Is there an end, and is there a quantity to that?
Everything on a
Case by case.
Okay,
This has been in existence for 7 years, honey. And
okay.
I don't think that we've heard of any actual documented issue. If we have, please bring them to light. Not saying, well, there's an increase in traffic. Granted, there very well may be, but you're gonna need a little bit more than that.
Okay, such as, is commercial traffic coming in and out, or, I mean, you want videotape, or is that something I have to be prepared for? There's there's, there's information, I guess, that the town would have in the file of, um, Oh, okay. It- it-
One second, man. One second.
You get your chance.
We're trying to find out. There is that.
All I can tell you is there's a lot of traffic that comes in and out of these two properties, and there's a lot of commercial vehicles, and that has, impacts of noise and privacy, and those are issues that, this is a closed community, there's no through access. So if you're having more horses, I understand what you're saying. I can't speak to something that I was unaware of and why it was issued. I'd have to be present with the facts that decision was made on, and I don't have that in front of me. No.
Anyone else that would like to be heard in this application?
No.
You see, I. Right.
They count as.
You gonna ride the pony?
His site.
Any other questions?
Get him a badge.
Take the motion on it.
Second.
All in favor?
For a period of 2 years.
Second.
All in favor? All right, both motions.
Thank you.
Application number 692-23, Lisa Ann Fenimore, permission to modify existing dwelling, resulting in new dwelling on lot having area of 35,072 square feet instead of required 40,000 square feet. Residence AAA District, 278 Cluster, north side of the Helm, 1,147.77 feet east of the Moor, East Islip.
Hi, Keith Cordova, JM2 Architecture, the architect representing the homeowner. Address is 2410 North Ocean Avenue, Farmingville, New York. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to CORDOVA. Sorry. So, oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. So there was a previous architect on the project. The initial application was an addition and alteration. That permit was issued. They started construction. During construction, the demolition process, there was rot, and the house honestly crumbled. So because of that, we resubmitted, our office was retained. We submitted new drawings, which is within the footprint of the original dwelling, with some minor alterations, but because the house was completely leveled, it's classified as a new dwelling. No, we weren't proposing to build it larger. It's roughly give or take the same size. Yeah, I think it was the property is 40,000 square feet, but the issue is the canal negates the size of the lot. Correct. Essentially, yes. I, a rot will do that.
No.
Does anyone else would like to be heard in this application? Favor?
Aye.
Application.
Thank you very much.
Application number 693-23, Jessica Rodriguez Hernandez and Ronald Steve Martinez. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-602. Residence A District, south side of Whalen Court, 124.52 feet east of Yankee Street, Brentwood.
Hi, Jessica Rodriguez Hernandez, 35 Welling Court, Brentwood, New York, 11717.
Everything complies.
Any questions? for the board? Planning, any comments? Anybody else like to be heard in this application? No? Okay. Motion, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Case is granted.
Thank you.
Application number 694-23, Mercedes Infantes, Idalina Rios, and Ana Benitez de Cruz. Permission to leave driveway having side yard of 2 feet instead of required 4 feet, and front yard occupancy of 55.6% instead of permitted 40%. Residence Double A District, east side of Connecticut Avenue, 150 feet south of Atlantic Street, Central Islip.
Good evening, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is William Cruz, resident of 951 Connecticut, Central Islip, New York.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
The front yard occupancy of 55.6, you bring that down to 40%.
It's not going to be possible unless we do some complete alterations, which is going to leave the property just completely botched and possibly lower the value of the property as well and neighboring properties. I spoke with Dan Burgos at the zoning department, and we draw out what we can cut out, but it's going to look like a complete Rubik's Cube if we do that. I mean, it's hard to explain. He wanted me to cut out this side, the right side of the driveway, and then cut out some boxes where the black car is, and where the white car is, just cut out another box from there, and then another box from the entryway. So I mean, it was gonna be patches of just cutouts everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, so we came up with, I mean, we look at different ways to do it, but the reason we did this driveway was for safety concerns. We live in an avenue, and we always back our cars into traffic. So with the roundabout, it's easier to go one way and then just pop out the other way. I mean, we carry our kids all the time in our cars, and it's just hard to back up into the driveway. It takes us around 5 minutes to back up into our own street for the sake of it. So this way we just pull out on the left side, come out the right side.
You can't have all that you want. That's where we're And if we allow you, then we have to give everybody else.
So on the evidence that I provided you, there's about 30 homes there. 50% of them are on Connecticut within 500 feet of ours with exactly the same exact size, 50% or more. And the other 50% of those houses are not in an avenue. It's just residential. I mean, it's again, 50 to 60%. Yeah, I have no COs for them, yeah.
Well, let's ask planning. Is it?
Planning, do you
is
have any
there-
questions?
Means there's nothing that we granted. So those are.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
So Deirdre, can you just zoom out a little further? So as the board is aware, Connecticut Avenue is what's called a local collector road. It carries all those feeder roads feed into Connecticut Avenue to get to points south and to points north. It is unquestionably a harder road to back out onto than, say, Atlantic Avenue or Babylon Street, the street to the north and the street to the south of the applicant's property. In some instances like this, the board has gone higher than the preferred minimum when safety is a concern.
It is a concern in this case, unfortunately. Before this, I prayed every time I backed away on my driveway, and that's, I mean, what would you? That's correct. So we looked at that situation with Dan Burgos, but again, it wouldn't be enough to get it down to the amount that we wanted. 50%, I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. Another thing is there is a bump on that side out down there as well, which the driveway does fix.
Yeah, 111.
It's not noticeable from street view or, well, it's not noticeable from area view, but yeah. No, of course. Well, I am willing to proposition. I mean, if it is an eyesore, I'm willing to proposition to put some arborvitaes on the side and the front. If that blocks it out from any, passerbyers, I'm more than willing to do that. It's just, for me, honestly, it's just a big safety concern for my wife. Every time she backs out, it's, she's not the most skillful driver in the world, so.
Is anyone else who'd like to be heard in this application? We're gonna reserve decision on this. Or would you like to be heard in this? I'm sorry.
Evening. Jamie Siegel, Intoxicated Islip HOA, 1700 Drive, Central Islip. It's sure, S is in Sam, IEGEL. It's a tough street for traffic. We totally agree. And just some screening and just a little extra would be nice. So you're on the right track. I just, wanted to commend you for taking that track.
Anyone else like to be heard?
Susan Pellegrino, 85 Deer Path Road. So I do agree with the board that there's just too much pavement here, and they could probably accommodate a smaller semicircle and have more green to fit in the nature of the character. And there are a lot of homes that have much smaller properties and have to back out. That's just the nature of them. And as far as the applicant is concerned, he's absolutely right. There are a lot of homes that the town might not be aware of that have fully paved their front properties. But that's not the direction we'd like to go in. So thank you.
Anybody else would like to be heard in this application? We're thinking of reserving decision. Another option.
What percentage would you guys be willing to go about? You do 50?
I think you have to propose what you can do, what's reasonable.
Okay. Yeah. It's tough, but yeah.
Make a motion to reserve.
So what's next step? Because do I speak to Dan Burgos again, or?
I think you have to make a proposal.
Okay.
You can bring it into zoning and make a proposal as to how you're going to amend what you want to do, and then we'll take a look at it and see if we believe it's reasonable. That's what I think the next step is.
Okay. Any other way in maybe getting support for this in regards to keeping it 55 or at least 50 at all? Okay.
We have a motion for reserve. We have a second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Application number 695-23, Cervante Pere Lopez. Permission to erect two-story dwelling and roofed-over patio on lot having width of 60 feet instead of required 75 feet, leaving side yard of 10 feet instead of required 14 feet, and total side yards of 24 feet instead of required 28 feet. Residence B District, south side of West Pine Street, 345 feet west of Islip Avenue, Islip.
Good evening. My name is Salim Ibrahim. I reside at 254-10 Francis Lewis Boulevard, Rosedale, New York, 11422. Good evening. I'm here to request of a side yard of 10 feet instead of the 14 feet, because also the lot is always narrow. It was supposed to be 75 feet, now it's 60 feet. And the owner, for religious reasons, they wanted the house to face the east. That's why we designed the house that specific location, and also to have more driveway space to be able to access the garage and the back of the house also.
Sorry, planning, what kind of precedents?
If we grant at 10, there's only one, that's not, or grant the second one. Reduce it. That-
It's kind of like a weird.
I mean, it looks like it, but should we further examine it to make sure we're not leaving that area?
What's there now?
It's a house property, a small house.
One story?
What is the current side yard on the property?
About 15 feet, 15 feet, the original house.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reserve so we further understand.
We'll reserve, let's see, if anyone else here would like to be heard in this application? Please come on.
No.
Good evening. My name is Gino Bolivar, and I live at 30th West Pine Street. I'm the owner.
Can you slow down our stenographer, you forget every single word.
My name is Gino Bolivar, and I live at 30. Slower than that. Gino Bolivar.
You spell your last name?
Bolivar, and I live at 30th West Pine Street. I am the owner.
You're the owner of this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to add a little thing. My neighbors, all the eastern neighbors are close to the fence, 10 feet. And that's why I think I'm not taking, I want to keep the width of that driveway on the eastern side of the house. You know, that's why we're trying to ask for that 6 feet reduction.
We want to study it and have reports made so we can see exactly what's there to make sure we're fair to you and to do justice to our code.
Yes, like I got it just looking at the picture up there. The eastern house is 1, 2, 3 houses going east, 4 houses going east. They're all closer to the western fence.
And if that turns out when we study it to be accurate, then all goes well for you.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to be heard in this application? No.
Sorry, second, I would like to add something else in the application.
Yes.
Sorry, also, there was a mistake made regarding the total side yard calculation. It was supposed to be 29 feet, not 28 feet. So we do comply to the total side yard of 28 feet. So we are 29 feet. So we have a side yard 10 feet, another side yard 19 feet on the plot plan, on the site plan that we provided.
He's losing 4 feet on one side and putting an extra.
Correct, exactly, like it's
You're
right.
only doing that to accommodate.
Correct. And also, number 2, the driveway on the plot plan showing the line of the curb cut, the curb facing closer to the property line. We will move that 4 feet away to get the more greenery on the side also. So that would be the driveway of 15 feet instead of 19 feet. So we're just shifting the house basically.
So you want to remove the request for the side yards, the total side yards from the call?
Correct. So you have that 28 feet to 29 feet. We're complying with the 28 feet. Correct, no. But I still in the drawing because I don't want no problem with the designer at the building department, the planning, the engineering, so I know him, he's gonna keep an eye on it.
So Salim, are you asking us to amend to include the driveway having a side yard of 0 or
No,
1?
no,
Or did you
just
say it would
because
comply?
when you approve the plans, Tanya gonna receive it, you will see that. But I want to make sure that the revised one doesn't show the BZA showing that we're keeping the curb to the side yard of the owner. So we remove the curb 4 feet away to comply with the 4 feet minimum for the driveway.
Okay, so the driveway will hold a
Correct,
side yard
4
of
feet.
4 feet.
Correct, but also make sure that the other side yard is 19 feet, complying with the total side yard of 28 feet. On your call, you have 28 feet on your call.
Yes, but out in the hall, he told me he was going to ask to amend the meeting to have the driveway on the side property line, so
Okay,
that was me.
No, I changed that.
Oh, you changed it, okay. All right.
All right, so we're,
I'm done.
we're gonna
We're good.
call the meeting, reference to the total side yard.
Correct.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Modified. The balance of it. A motion to, favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
I would approve it.
Okay. We could, because we eventually got this out of. Okay, let's get rid of this one.
We're gonna have a discussion.
Just going to skip ahead, you guys, to the second adjournment. Is anybody here on the application of Bay Club of Bayshore LLC? No, that's not you. We're skipping ahead. We have a request to adjourn, to withdraw application 700-23 from
Hi,
the.
good afternoon, good evening. Philip Pauler with Farrell Fritz. I do have a letter, Mary, I do believe this was sent to your office
I do.
a short while
It's
ago.
right here.
I have another copy here for the board.
I have 3 right here. We're good.
You have it, okay.
Yeah.
So yes, the application is being withdrawn, thank you.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, the application is withdrawn.
Turning back to 96. Application number 696-23, 84-01, 101 Avenue LLC, to renew permit for accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-616, Residence B District, southeast corner of Birch Street and Prospect Avenue, Central Islip.
Excuse me, sir, please give us your name and address.
I'm sorry, can you use the microphone I have?
You please give us your name and address.
Oh, after Golem, 22 Birch Street, Central Islip, New York, 11722. Golem, Gholam. You're welcome.
This is a public renewal. So we have a report from code enforcement who made an inspection to the interior of your home and said it's not being used in accordance with the last issued CO, which was issued pursuant to the approval of this board for that accessory apartment to be there.
No, the tenant is on eviction. I don't know when I can evict them because they're not allowing us to see inside. So,
I believe code enforcement has been inside at least part of the house and has reported that the unit that they were inside of was substantially smaller than the unit that this board approved previously to the prior owner. Your first approval was permission to renew and transfer that permit from the prior owner. We also have a letter from a neighbor who's got concerns about the renewal.
Mr. Fowler, where do you live? Where do you reside?
well, 22 Birch Street.
Possibly you gave us, you provided us.
I'm sorry?
Provided us with a copy of your driver's.
Yes.
But it's expired.
I was out of country, so,
Do you have a current version with you?
I'm sorry?
Do you have your current driver's license with you?
No, I don't. That,
Is it,
let me see, yeah, 2020. Yeah. I never noticed.
What we try to avoid.
And code enforcement says they're not in compliance, so, with the permit. So, I mean, what more do you do? Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, the applicant just applied to renew for a period of 3 years. Recently, this month, I believe. Yeah. When we mailed the renewal notice, we mailed it to the last address that you gave us, which was in Garden City, and it came back unreturnable. So,
I told him to remove that address.
right.
I used to
anyone
work
else
there.
like to be heard in this application?
Yes, sir.
Step aside so you can speak.
Me?
Yeah, step aside. You can speak.
Hi, Jamie Siegel, Siegel, for the Central Islip Coalition of Good Neighbors. Our concern is the parking in the front yard on the grass and the overabundance of cars. I have pictures, I can email them to the board. We were talking to one of the neighbors as well that probably wrote the letter, but so in the past 2 weeks, since it's been brought to our attention, I've been going by every day. I've noticed between 5 and 7 cars during the daytime, normally with 2 parked on the side of the front, which is a problem. There are always cars parked on the street, but I don't know that they belong to that house.
Code enforcement say.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Does anyone else like to be heard in this application?
The motion to deny the application over to the apply.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So your application should be denied, and you can reapply once you clean up all the issues.
Application number 697-23, Donna Maranzino McDougal. Permission to leave 1 and 2-story additions, 30.9 by 27.8 irregular, having side yard of 2.9 feet instead of required 14 feet, and total side yards of 19.1 feet instead of required 28 feet, and deck having side yard of 2.9 feet instead of required 6 feet. Residence B District, west side of North Clinton Avenue, 456.81 feet south of Howells Road, Bay Shore.
Good evening, board member. My name is Donna Maranzino. I live at 190 North Clinton Avenue, Bay Shore, New York, 11706. I'm here tonight to bring my house into compliance. I've been in the family name for over 60 years. So it hasn't changed anyone's name. I'm requesting permission to leave the deck with a side of 2 feet 9 inches instead of the required 6 feet, and to leave my two-story addition that was actually done in 1950s before I was born. My parents bought the house in 1960. So, and to have the addition dwelling left with a side yard of 2 feet 9 inches instead of 14 total.
Lisa, could you give us something maybe 1960?
A little hard to see.
That's seven.
You never cared about it for 60 years.
What was that last month? That thing? So we at least know, is it the same configuration? I think, right? Looks pretty close.
These properties have not changed.
But I keep seeing at that bottom right. Ma'am, did you grow up in that house?
Yes, I did.
And you can confirm to us that?
Yes, I can. In fact, I was here in front of the board meeting because you're going to put a doctor's office on top of that North Clinton block.
This is just across from the fire department, correct?
Correct.
It's that whole neighborhood.
Do you have any other comments?
What was the zoning in the fifth? House.
What brings you here tonight, aside from wanting to legal?
Just because I want to sell the house to my daughter and I want to get the house all in, up to date.
Is there anyone else that would like to be heard in this application? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it. Have a nice night.
The next application, 634-23, has been adjourned. The applicant gave us notice in time for us to notice the surrounding property owners. So nobody is here to be heard on application number 634-23, Robert Barbera. That application's been adjourned to an open date. Application number 698-23, Robert Onafredi. Permission to subdivide lot into 2 parcels. Lot 1, to leave 2-story dwelling having front yard of 14 feet instead of required 25 feet. Roofed over entrance having front yard of 10.2 feet instead of permitted encroachment setback of 20 feet. To erect attached garage, leaving front yard of 19.2 feet, and 2-story addition, leaving front yard of 20.7 feet instead of required 25 feet each. And Lot 2, to erect 2-story dwelling on conforming parcel. Residence E District, south side of East Manhasset Street, 194.98 feet east of Belmore Avenue, Islip Terrace.
Good evening. My name is Linda Secafico from LES Associates, 500 Montauk Highway in Mauritius. And I am the agent for Robert Onafredi, who is here, who is present. The photographs that I just gave to you is of the property that he owns, and it clearly shows that he owns an existing house on East Manhasset, And then the back property is a buildable lot, and that faces Elmsford. His total property is 8,875.12 square feet, and the average properties around him are 9,437 square feet. We are proposing on Lot 1 to renovate the existing house, which is that three-story white home, and they're going to make the renovation look like the pictures that I just sent to you, the plans from the architect. And the second, Lot 2, will have a proposed two-story dwelling, which will conform to all of the Lot B code. Application has been submitted to the Health Department on 8/5/20. The Health Department issued their subdivision number RS200032. All the TDRs are in place for the Health Department's requirements. Suffolk County has approved water hookup for the new home. The subject parcel is larger, double parcel than the adjacent properties. Renovation, yes. 9,437 square feet. It's to code because the lot on parcel, it's B zone, and the parcel 2 is conforming to code. Excuse me, excuse me?
The non-conforming.
That's non-conforming. That's what we're here for. But that's an existing. Well, the lot size to code, the minimum is 7,500 square feet. You were conforming on lot size, yes.
Garage, everything that you're for a variance, maybe I'm reading it wrong. Really has nothing to do with the subdivision. Subdivision isn't it, right? It's all related to the.
Right.
Which would not be exacerbated. The variance is.
It's just for the existing house on parcel
Whether or
1.
not you're getting a subdivision.
That is correct. Right,
But
but
it's not the subdivision that's creating.
I'm just want to follow up on that. Those are.
Whether or not there was a subdivision, those questions.
it's from the horses.
Yes. My dad was.
Oh, God.
Linda, is there a CO at all on this property, or do you happen to know what year the house was built? It looks like a 1920 house to me.
This one. I know I omitted it. I have the deed, but I did not bring CO.
I'm not sure there is one.
Excuse me?
I'm not sure there is one.
They,
If the house
right.
dates
Robert,
1928.
you purchased the house? Oh, okay. No, he said there is no deed. He purchased it. He took ownership of it in, let me give you the date, and there was no deed. He took ownership of the property recorded at the county center on 9/19/2019, and there was no, any record of CO at the town.
So as far as if anybody has a guess as to the age of the structure, to me, it looks like it's a 1920s house.
Yeah.
How about that?
The owner says it's about a 1920 range.
Thank you.
And the proposed renovation and the construction of the new house will enhance the neighborhood, and it will have no negative impact, because that is a vacant lot that's being used, underutilized. And when the two new homes are renovated and the new home is built, you will have a new tax base for homes that will be valued between 600,000 and 700,000.
Any other questions?
No.
Is anyone else that would like to be heard in this application? I'm sorry.
Now or forever?
Hi, good evening. My name's Katina Pryor. I'm at 396 Elmwood Street. Pryor, Pryor. Thank you. Oh yeah, okay. So I just happened to get this letter after I just came back from vacation. So that's why I ran over here just to see if that was the same lot. So it technically is. I just want to find out, because that lot is totally underutilized. So that's why I want to see what was happening with it. And basically, if they're building on it, it's going to be a home built on the side facing Elmwood Street. That's what I'm understanding? Okay, yeah, because I'm directly across the street from it. Okay, all right, that's all I want to find out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to be heard in this application?
My name is Margaret O'Neill. I live at 332 East Manhasset Street, next door to the property that we're just talking about. I think definitely something needs to be done. It's been 4 years that we're kind of staring at that property. But we've had to call the town to have the property maintained. We've had to call the town to have the owner remove these commercial vehicles that have been sitting there. They now have this giant RV in that property. I'm concerned that if construction begins and things happen, that if anything happens to my property, they're not going to, it's going to be difficult for me to have issues resolved. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's just been a lot of things that we keep having to, that aren't, that
Construction's gonna be on the other side of the property.
I'm right next door to it. So it's where I assume where they're going to be doing, putting the garage up would be, I don't, it's going to be all in my next door.
I understand that, but that's really not a zoning issue. I think this is a situation where we're going to give them some minor relief here. And if there are problems during construction, you can
That would
certainly
be-
complain to the town about that and they
Okay.
will take action. But I mean, we really can't predict the future. That's.
Right, no, of course not, of course not. Okay, well, thank you.
Hi, my name is Carl Koenig, Koenig. I live at 399 Elmwood Street. I've been living there since 1963. That property was owned by the grandfather I never had. He took care of that property. He gardened where that second building's gonna be. He never allowed that property to be the way it is. And my son had wanted to purchase that. Unfortunately, the people that he bought it from weren't really good people because he wanted to give him $50,000 more than he bought it for. Here, it's over and done with. But I was under the impression that you could not build two houses on that because of the sewers. The new sewer law doesn't allow the front property that will be next to my house to have a sewer. One, it's only good for one. That was the impression that I had. Now, it's not maintained, so it is, I have, trees growing all over and stuff like that. But the man, Mr. Sherman, who owned the property, and the reason that it looks like that a little bit now is because he had two handicapped sons. And unfortunately, I was on vacation when his oldest son passed away in the house, and they didn't find him for 2 or 3 days because nobody came and checked on him. But that's kind of like the history. It was bought in it was built around 1920, 1930s, as you suspected.
I'm having difficulty following what is that you want or don't want.
I'd like to see the property kept as it is.
You vacant.
No, it's not, well, the back property next to mine, yeah, that would be great. Because I've always known it as a garden with flowers, vegetables, and all that kind of stuff. The people who buy the first house can do that. He doesn't have to subdivide it, except for profit.
To subdivide.
Yeah, well,
Very minor.
Right. His lot size is sufficient.
well, I was under the impression it wasn't. That was,
No, it is.
Keep the same size as what he's proposed.
You need 7,500.
okay,
More than enough.
all right, well,
No, this is education.
yeah, but anyway, just if you'd like to know, a little bit history of it. Mr. Sherman owned from Manhasset Boulevard all the way down to Sunrise Highway. He owned that piece, he owned it from between Belmore and Connecticut, and then he sold it to Crestwood Builders. That's the house I have. My parents bought that in 1963, and he had sold that whole large piece of property. He kept that one piece there for gardening and all that kind of stuff. And it's a little history of, Germantown.
Thank you.
Yeah, it used to be, Islip Terrace used to be called Germantown, until World War I. Hey, thank you very much, and it would have been nice if you came around and showed us kind of like an idea of what you want.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else that would like to be heard in this application? Any other questions? Did you have anything else?
I just want to mention to the board that the health department is requiring that the existing house that's going to be renovated, a new septic system is going in. And then, of course, the new house will have a new septic system. Yes, we are. We're waiting, they're waiting for approval from the town board to issue permits.
Yeah.
This is not the town board, from the zoning board.
Zoning board.
Oh,
The zoning board.
no.
Don't want to be the town board.
It is in Islip Terrace.
You are, Bill.
Oh, yes, okay. I'll make a motion to grant the application.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, application is granted.
Thank you very much.
Application number 699-23, JJJ Real Estate Enterprises LLC. Oh.
Sure.
You talking about the application we just granted? Yes. Do you have a copy? Did you hand him a copy? Or you want to show him the copy?
Okay, next application.
Yeah, it's public record.
Thank you.
What did I say? Permission to erect warehouse 80 by 125, leaving front yard of 25 feet instead of required 50 feet. Industrial 1 District, south side of Beaver Dam Road, 400 feet west of Islip Avenue, Islip.
Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Philip Butler with the law firm of Farrell Fritz PC on behalf of the applicant. Joined tonight by Josh Seiden for the applicant as well, and Anthony Stancanelli with Phronesis Engineering. As you can see on the site plan, the current parcel is vacant roughly 29,000 square feet. We're proposing a 10,000 square foot warehouse, 1 story, 2 overhead bays, respectively for 2 tenants, and 13 parking stalls. It's a relatively small facility. As you can probably tell, it's designed really for local contractor storage and use. It's not a, a last mile or a fulfillment center type of warehouse, which I know this town has seen a lot of recently. The need for the relief is primarily driven by the fact that the south portion of the property abuts a residential neighborhood. So the 25-foot setback that we would be required to comply with is doubled to 50 feet. We also have to accommodate the on-site parking and need to provide front yard landscaping. So the configuration has pretty much pushed us to put the parking onto one side of the property and put the warehouse onto the other, and kind of that's resulted in an elongated, more narrow. That's correct, not closer to the residents.
50 foot and you want 25, that's substantial.
Yes, it is.
We have granted 30. Not 50.
30, not 50. I mean,
So 30 is good enough.
right, but
We allow everybody to start pushing up.
Wait, record, we need record. We need record. The applicant needs to hear on the record where 30 feet came from. Was it for a new building?
I won't dispute you on that, yes. Well, to be quite honest with you, we've been working with brokers, and when we hear from the market that current day contractors need certain size warehouses, if we're gonna have 2 tenants, it's all driven by market demand, frankly. No, absolutely not. But at the same time, quite honestly, this block is a bit of a mess. This property is derelict. It's a dumping ground. Anecdotally, I went there before this meeting tonight, and there were 2 people parked in a car with their lights off in front of it. So this property is very much a property that you want to see developed. Because, well, it is an industrial property. I don't think you want a more intense use up against a residential zone. Understood.
Maybe a vacant area, for public land, that doesn't grant us authority to do something that.
No, but we are asking for the trade-off of the relief in exchange for putting other things like the sidewalk that's gonna go in, the street trees that are gonna go in, the landscaping, the rain garden. There's a lot of, it's, we're just looking for a give and take. I understand you're saying the board, oh, sorry.
Where you wanna feel it.
Right.
Where they trade a horse for the dog. You don't have.
Tree for a goat.
Parameters.
Mhm.
So I'm telling you, 25 is. And they want to think about what else you can put.
So I'm sorry, was the 30 foot that was mentioned, is that a 30 foot setback, or is that, so we're talking about another 5 feet would be more palatable to the board? Is that what I was hearing?
Don't know exactly what the nature, I know we have 130, and I don't.
Field license to work.
Oh, okay.
Someone's let them up.
You're talking about.
We don't have any other front yards that close.
Well,
Granted, we're gonna have to start letting everybody else.
I mean, you will, because if you can see on the aerial that's shown here, there's a little bit of a curve at the end of Beaver Dam. The town apparently is anticipating to turn this into a cul-de-sac. So that building across the street is probably going to be not too much farther from Beaver Dam than the proposed building on this property. And we show on our site plan, because we did consult with your engineering division, it shows where that cul-de-sac prospectively would be. I don't have the dimension for the setback to the building across the street, but again, you're going to have a much smaller setback at that property.
told them that. Oh, but it says right here.
25-foot buffer.
You're right.
My concern is I know you want to build a warehouse, but at the top of the. We're asking you to put 3 feet, what we have. It's just excessive.
Right, but also the impact on the neighborhood, considering this is going to be a dead end, at the end of the dead end, who else is going to see it? So if we're talking about impact on the community from the variance, there's really none. Who's going to see this property besides the people using it? Well, I would submit, I understand, but every property is unique and every application is unique. So this wouldn't necessarily set precedent. This is a dead end, the property at the end of the dead end. So there would be distinctions that you could draw upon to not grant. I understand it's substantial. I'm not debating that, but so, right, and we did look at that. But what you'll notice from the aerial here is that none of those buildings have parking on their side and none of them have landscaping in the front. If they had to, right, and at the same time, if they had to comply with the parking requirements and with the front yard landscaping, those properties would not be zoning compliant either. And you'd either have to make those buildings, I don't know how much smaller, or you'd have to reconfigure them altogether. So the fact that those properties might be more zoning compliant or even zoning compliant doesn't really help us here because of just the way those properties are laid out. They're not actually complying with landscaping and parking. We don't have anything else to present. I mean, I'm happy to speak with my client about the substantiality of the variance if you want to take comments from the public, if there is any to be had.
Anyone else who would like to be heard in this application?
I think we're looking at relief from this board no matter what we do, to be quite frank with you. If it's a question of how much relief this board is willing to grant, I mean, we can talk about that further and come back to you. The relief will likely still be substantial, though.
You may not.
Understood.
You may not. So it's reserved. Let them come back. And
That would be appreciated, yeah. When does this board meet in December?
That's none of your business. Definitely the 12th.
The 12th, okay.
But you don't, I think what the board is saying, you don't have to come back again unless you want to, and we'll adjourn rather than reserve.
You don't have to, you can submit your new proposal.
Okay, if you don't want us to come back, then yes, reserve works for me. Yes. Um, 2 weeks is fine.
make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Application number 701-23, Sequoms Lane West LLC, permission to erect two-story dwelling on lot having area of 9,888 square feet instead of required 11,250 square feet, and floor area ratio of 38.62% instead of permitted 25%. Residence A District, west side of Sequoms Lane West, 1,000 feet south of Sequoms Lane West, West Islip.
Good evening. Pavlo Tupachuk, 258 Seagram's Lane Center, West Islip, New York. Tupychak.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, before you do, so I realized the architect made a mistake. For the attic, we'll eliminate the 594 square feet, and that's about 6% of the FAR that we could eliminate off the bat.
You can't just kind of do it roundabout. We need to know.
It's exactly 594.69, 6%.
What is?
On record, it's 38.1.
But I thought you said you're reducing.
Oh, so yeah, looking at this, I could reduce it to 594 square feet.
What does that result?
What's that new calculation?
Oh, new calculation would be 32.6.
32.
Yes. Then what we need to, this is like Sequam, probably, but, yeah, right, Sequams or no? Oh. 31.6. Looks like that's going to be your number.
Do I hear 32.6?
31.6.
31.6. Since we have two existing, looks like that's going to be our.
I appreciate it. Yep. Okay.
Works for you?
Yes.
Is there anyone else who'd like to be heard in this application? There's a motion on that.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we grant the application as amended at 31.6. They are at.
We'll deny it at 38.
Yes. That's a great idea. That's my motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Application is modified, has been granted.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Did you second?
Yes.
Give it to
Give him these.
nice and loud and
Exactly. Get him done.
no mumbling over
Get him done.
here. Application number 702-23, Marina O'Reilly, permission to elevate dwelling, leaving first floor elevation of 13 feet instead of permitted 8 feet. Floor area ratio of 57.9% instead of permitted 25%. Side yards of 4.5 feet and 7.1 feet instead of required 14 feet each. Total side yards of 11.6 feet instead of required 28 feet. And front yard of 14.5 feet instead of required 25 feet. To leave rear yard landscaping of 24.43% instead of required 40%, and to modify driveway, leaving front yard occupancy of 60.37% instead of permitted 40%. Residence B District, south side of Allen Point Road, east of Degnon Boulevard, Bay Shore.
Hi, my name is Joseph Nickel. I live at 16 Allen Point Road, Bay Shore. And I see KEL.
Well, you may have been here when we questioned somebody looking at 38, and winning like 32, and they ended up at 31.6. I'm reading this correctly, an FAR of 57.9.
Well, all I know is that we're taking our house and just picking it up, not asking for anything. We're not adding anything. We're not doing anything to our house.
Just raising it.
Just it. Excuse me? What's an FAR?
Floor area ratio.
Water ratio?
What is it now?
Whatever's existing.
1 second, sir. Planning, can you just give us what they have now?
I think what they have now is probably the same, but the only. Squaring off bits of it.
How long have you owned the house, sir?
1 year.
Unfortunately, that's why I was questioning how we would get to be there. Unfortunately, your predecessor seems to have built many additions without benefit of permit. And you step into their shoes, if I am correct. So we're trying to figure out how it got from its original FAR to its current. and it may have been done without that.
Well, this has, none of these issues came up, you only voted a year ago.
No, nothing. We bought the house. It had all C of Os. I mean,
Get a mortgage,
yeah, we have a mortgage, everything.
Survey?
survey.
We had surveys, everything. And my,
That's so out of line, zoning that I don't know how this would have come up, not come up when you bought the house. I have an idea.
It doesn't really go, there's a. There's the 38.26.
We have the surveys attached to these. I don't know. I think these are legal additions. They were both permitted.
So what
Because
was
this
the
one never got built. It's the
precedent in
second
the
story.
addition character? It's 30%, it's conforming.
This is an old neighborhood.
I don't know. Why would you
You know,
think
is the
illegal
raise of
there?
this
We
house
see
causing
exceeded. Oh, sorry, yeah.
It's already been there. Something to do with the application.
I don't think so. It already exists.
Isn't that just-
Well, that's what he's asking.
What did the CO say?
So.
Oh. House.
No, it's better than that. It's fairly recently issued, 1984.
Two water closets.
I think after the addition was put on, right after.
But originally it says 1 story on concrete. So that's not what it is.
CO's dated.
yes, it is.
Well, that's
Just,
sorry, the reason, but they.
Yeah, because I was just saying, I don't see that it's a square. Where's the
Oh.
additions?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this was not a 1930 sign. So what happened is, maybe unbeknownst to you, but your predecessors building without permit. And you're kind of stuck in a mess.
This was the original house.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So they definitely just.
They
squared
square,
off the
yeah.
back And they, this bumped up.
yeah.
They were granted.
But it was never legal what they built in the first place. That's your problem. I think there may be an issue that not only can you not elevate it, you may not be able to get a CO for the existing.
Yeah.
It's so much larger.
We just gave.
It's 58%. 58%, and the neighborhood is 30.
Just see it.
So it's not your fault.
Yeah, I'm dumbfounded. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all this, and I just bought a house, and we're flooding, and I just want to lift it. You know, I'm not adding any space.
Yeah, the CO is fairly recent, so that's what we're, well, that's recent to us. But,
I'm talking about a year ago when we purchased the house.
yeah, well, the 1972 survey was used to apply to the board in 1975 to get permission to put a one-story addition on. So those were the existing conditions prior to the one-story addition that the board approved. Right. Right, which they never did. So isn't it reasonable to believe that they proceeded with the 1975 approval and put the one-story addition on? Yeah, I don't think we.
Yeah, it's safer.
What's the aerial after 84?
See,
The
this
closest
may
we
be-
can get to 84.
see, 84, the house.
That's when it
the
was
house
sealed.
is 1330, 1,330 square.
But it still looks, right, and that's when it was
I
sealed,
just-
correct?
That's my house.
But
Huh?
here's structure built in 1970. How, so on a 5,000 square foot lot, 31% is 15. How big is this house now?
Not big. I mean, I don't know.
I just don't understand
1800, maybe 1900.
how somebody bought a house a year ago with only by Sullivan, and I know the bank sent out somebody to do an inspection and didn't say, oh my goodness, this looks nothing like the survey showed.
Well, first of all, the surveys were all done by Scalise. I mean, I had nothing but professionals. I have, Steve, the architect, Christensen, and then Scalise did all the surveys. We haven't done anything to this house. And
No,
we're
I don't
just-
think that's the issue, but was a CO issued in error? That's really what they.
I'm trying to read the 1970.
Can I ask what's in question? I'm sorry. Mhm.
Come in line with those houses.
You don't know when it was done. That's.
Right, where they. Big addition was better than
Here's what we're discussing, whether a CO was issued after the extension was put on it or before. That's really, it's nothing to do with you, but on the history of the property, we're trying to sit here and look through whether, when this occurred, because obviously if the town messed up, that shouldn't be on you.
Is it possible that the CO, that the FAO is calculated? And they are on this lot.
I don't have a 3,000 square foot house.
Well, it says in the first line in the call of the meeting, max is permitted 8 feet, but he's going for 13 feet. Is it possible that those 5 feet?
Talk to any other professionals before you give it.
Yes.
Cool.
My architect, Steve, and he told me to say that we're taking the exact footprint of the house and lifting it up. We're not even putting an entrance going down into it.
Can I make a suggestion? You want to do, why don't we adjourn this and come back to the architect, maybe explain? Because the numbers don't add up.
What's in question? I'm just not quite sure.
That's everything.
Okay, so it's on the plot plan. It's on the plot plan. The architect says the FAR for the new first floor, which he's calling lower storage / garage. It brings it to 57. So the reason you want the increased height is because you want to park cars under the house.
We have no parking. And my neighbor's here.
Now we get to it. However, we can't permit 58% FAR. It's so in excess. I know that you have problems parking your cars, but that neighborhood holds, the nature and character is 30%, 30. You heard me telling somebody 25 feet was excessive.
Your architect has been around in Iceland. Knows it this way.
You can't grant 58%.
You need to take an adjournment. Oh, have a attorney who does accounting, take it back.
I just want to be clear because I don't understand. What is in question was it too high?
Almost all of this is supposed to be.
Is it too high?
Yeah, part of it.
It's 58%.
So what if
When
it's
you say too
lower?
high, it's talking
I'm
about
just
the
asking,
elevation.
what if it's lower?
Right. No, I just don't want to confuse it. When he said, is it too high? He's talking about elevation. Billy's talking about FAR.
Right, you know what
Right.
FAR is? Foot area ratio. You're allowed a percentage of the house to be a percentage of the property.
Mhm.
So that area holds, homes occupy 30% of the property. You're asking to occupy 58.
Can I just ask, what is the difference of it right now to what I want to do?
That's what I'm asking you. You're supposed to answer that question for us.
I'm not changing anything. I
Raise
just,
it and then put a garage or parking under the rating.
All right, what you need to ask your architect is to break out the numbers. Where could it be attributed to? Is it the garage? Is it the extra space?
but everything should be there. That's why I'm so confused. I'm sorry. I don't understand all this.
No, I understand that. That's why he should have been here.
Ma'am, I assume you guys
I mean-
would like to be heard in this application? Would you like to speak now? We can see what input you have. Please just give us your name and address.
Mildred McCaffey,
Move the microphone down.
20 Allen's Point. I'm next door to them. MCHAFFIE. Okay, I've been there since, the house was moved down there in 1939 from Montfort Seminary. Okay, the house is the same exact footprint as it was, including the garage, which I put as, I have a CO on the garage, which I did in 2000.
Your house?
My house. No, I'm just telling you what I have. It was 30%, whatever the percentage is. His house, I don't think any of these numbers are right, to tell you the truth. Because he's very close to my property line on one side and the other side. The front yard, there is no front yard. It's just a driveway. It's just a driveway where they pull in and whatever.
You know what, I think we have figured out part of the problem is that the applicant wants to raise it.
Yeah, I don't want that.
He wants to raise it. When he wants to raise it, he wants to put lower storage and garage. That all becomes additional.
Square footage, yeah.
Square footage.
Yeah.
And that brings it up to
57 point,
57.9.
yeah, no.
Can I speak?
Go ahead.
So
It's not just raising it, it's creating more volume.
we've had a lot of,
If you could give us your name
I'm
and
sorry, I'm Dara Garofolo. I'm her daughter. Garofolo. So there are many, many vehicles, work vehicles and personal vehicles that are always parked. I mean, like 7 at a time, sometimes crammed in. I'm trying to back out of the driveway, but I'm afraid I'm gonna hit them because they're parked across the street in front of the house and they have like a little circular driveway. So I'm assuming that they want to park all these work vehicles out of the way under the house, but it's gonna make it overshadow her house like a monstrosity. Because it's gonna be 50-something feet, 50% higher. And that's the issue. It's not like it's gonna be used as a parking garage.
What do you mean by work vehicle? Are they-
Trucks and vans and they can't drive all those cars. They only have 2 feet and 2 hands. So it has to be like, extra people that work, in his company, which I
I
understand.
guess I'm just trying to figure out,
We don't know.
are they keeping work vehicles at the house and that's why they're looking for storage or?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. There's a lot of vans there, big Ford, those kind of.
I think we get it. I think we get, but that's the point.
In addition to that, can I add one thing? So when they first moved in, they asked us a favor if they could take down a panel of the fence, 2 panels of the fence, and go through our yard to put this like shed in the backyard, like this trailer, which has like electricity, a coal stove. No, but they never put the fence back right. And no.
But we get it. So if there's a code enforcement, then you go to code. But let's get back, and if we
All right,
can
thank you, ma'am.
yield the podium.
Yes.
All right.
All right, so let's just go through each item on your application. Right? The first item is the first floor elevation of 13.
First floor, three.
FAR, we feel you have to put that. You're gonna go back to your architect about.
Can I ask, what is the FAR, what is it that has to be fixed?
It's floor area ratio.
Okay, so do I have to make my house
How much house is on the
smaller?
property? It's gotta be smaller. Yeah, you gotta talk to your architect about that.
Are we talking about underneath the house?
That's what resulted in the doubling of your FAR. is the space that you desire underneath.
You have like 25%.
So the basement is the problem. It's too big. Like, they make the basement smaller? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know how your architect can do it, but yeah, the basement, the storage area. You need to go back.
How would I lift my house? I'm just asking, guys, like,
Right. The short answer is, we're asking for floor area ratio.
The answer to your question is under the first floor.
Okay.
Raised with nothing, not raised with the basement. Great. That's it.
okay, I find that, no problem. Yeah, I understand, but it's like useless space. You know, like, well, and then I only have a one-story house. It's not like I'm gonna be taller than my neighbors. You know, my neighbors both have two-story homes.
And this left, you wanna put, use it as volume, as space, double. You're going to say, you're not out. You under, making it out. That's where we're going. So let's take a German date.
Okay.
And we can work it out.
Yeah.
Don't want it done right.
Yeah, I just wanna go up. I don't care how I do it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I think so.
All right, so this come back. We want to make sure you have a floor area ratio. You raise it, Opposed to your neighbor with a small house. Front yard occupancy.
Well, just, I don't know. I'm just saying my front side yard is my side yard. I didn't do this. Like, I bought the house and it's only 5 feet. This is the whole reason we're trying to get storage. We have no property, like. Mhm. Oh, yes. Well, have Steve contact.
He filed an application on your behalf at our office.
Right.
So he knows how to get.
Okay.
And
Have
they don't
Steve
have
handle
FAR
this.
in Massapequa where he's from, so we'll have to try to explain FAR a little.
Okay. Got it.
So we're gonna.
When can I come back? When do I, what do I has it?
We'll adjourn it, and then-
Oh, I think we better just open it, but that's up to you. We could adjourn. Yeah.
Okay. And then Steve, you guys will work it out. Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. We got 5.
Oh, boy. Sorry, Deirdre, you can't leave them. You have to get that application back to Stephen. Oh, okay.
We got 5.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot to read in. All the work that we're doing.
Everything. All we can get. Get some Article 78 Saturday.
No, hopefully no our. Mary, I get to pick up a laptop too, a town laptop.
Oh.
Next week or following.
Oh.
Because I'm shut out of everything.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, so you haven't been seeing my emails?
No, I have emails, I have it on my phone.
Oh, but you
then
shut out
I
of
applied all to.
TOI.